First on BBC One.
Hello and welcome to episode 42 of the History CV of Britain. I'm your host Paul, and this evening I'll hopefully be joined by Ralph Ellis to discuss the Shakespeare authorship question. We're having some technical difficulties getting Ralph into the studio, so do bear with me, live TV and all that. Okay, now I learned something very important today, and that is never go to watch your football team play hours before a stream. As you can see, my hands are still shaking. It was extremely stressful, but luckily enough, West Ham won 3-1. Come on, you irons. Right, okay. Question for you. I've put it in the chat box. How do we get the name Arthur from Athrois? I think I've pronounced that correctly. If I haven't, I do apologise. Let's just go and see the chat quickly. Any ideas on that, anyone? How do we get the name Arthur from Athrois? Athrawis, I believe. And there seems to be a lot of debate on that topic. Okay, now I am reading a new book at the moment. I'm still ploughing my way through Artorius Rex Discovered. It's really long, that book, but I'm over halfway now. But I've started reading this book. And get a load of the cover on that book. It's a beautiful cover. The Coming of the Saxons by Tony Sullivan. And I should thank Richard Johnson for putting me onto the work of Tony. Thank you, Richard. This book focuses on the pivotal event of the mid-5th century, the arrival of Germanic mercenaries. Compares this with events across the empire and Roman practices regarding settlement on Germanic peoples in the West. Looks at how the subsequent revolt may have precipitated the provincial fragmentation and led to the emergence of petty kingdoms. A unique book that looks solely at this key event in Britain's history, described by Bede as the Adventus Saxonum. And I've read the first 25 pages, I think, so far, and it's off to a flyer. I'm really enjoying it already. And the good news is that I'll be discussing this book with the author live on the CV, I think in 3 weeks' time. So that's something to look forward to, and I'll be filling you in on this book as we go along. Okay, right. I've got a couple of videos to mention quickly. I recorded a video with Dane Quirk of the Saturn Rooster YouTube channel, and Hugh Evans was in attendance. Dane has been making some extraordinary findings on the neck of the guitar, metrological findings, I should say, and it was a great discussion. And Dane really helped me understand what he was going on about. He's very good at breaking things down for a layman. So look out for that. I should be publishing that video, if I get time to edit it, on Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. So look out for that. It's some incredible stuff. And I think, if I remember rightly, I've linked Dane's video underneath this video. It's the Saturn Rooster YouTube channel. So do please check it out. Okay, a moderator plea. Now, I've had a couple of, I've put the message out there, I need a moderator. I've had a couple of possiblies and a couple of, do you mind if I don't? but I could really use a moderator on the show now, because the chat is getting really busy, which is great. But we do need someone in there, you know, just to make sure that everyone's being nice and debating politely. So if anyone's interested, please contact me and let me know, and I'll get you sorted out as a moderator as soon as possible. Right, let's go and have a look in the chat box. And I also need to check my phone quickly as well. Apologies for this, but we've had some trouble. Computer's still loading. Okay, right, so keep your fingers crossed. Ralph should be here at any moment, but he's just been having some problems getting into my studio. So we shall see what happens. So in the meantime, let's see who's with us this evening. David J is in the house. Good to see you, David. And Richard is here as well. For some reason, he's calling me Audrey. No idea what he's going on about there. Absolutely no idea. Marshall, good evening, Marshall Abrahams. Good to see you. The mighty Hugh Evans is with us in the house. Good to see you, Hugh. And we've got Merlin's boy, Romano Ite Domum, is what Merlin's boy shouted at one of the guards at Caerleon recently. I wish I could have been there to see that. That would have been brilliant. Okay, we're discussing our favourite Shakespeare films and plays at the moment. Mine is, I watched it last night. Mine is Roman Polanski's Macbeth, which was filmed in 1971 and featured one of my favourite bands of all time, the Third Ear Band, and they provided all the music for the film, which was outstanding. And it's just a brilliant reenactment of Macbeth. Highly recommend. If you've not seen that before, please do go and check it out. You'll find it online somewhere probably. Ben Lee is in the house. Good to see you, Ben. Lord Tadley has joined us. What ho, John? And there's a name that I'm going to have an awful amount of trouble trying to pronounce. Idle von Saint Parla. Idle von Saint Parla. Try saying that after a couple of pints. Thank you for joining us. And yes, the film Anonymous. Now that may come up in discussion if Ralph manages to break into my studio. I'm sure that will come up. I believe that I saw that not long after it came out. I think it was in 2011. It was all right. It was okay. I wasn't that enamored with it, but the identification of Shakespeare, I believe, was proven by Alexander Waugh, who is sadly no longer with us. But he did some incredible research into this, with John Dee being like the key figure, if you like. And there's a video on the Alexander Waugh channel on YouTube called The Incalculable Genius of John Dee. And it absolutely, I saw it when it first came out about 3 years ago, and it just blew my socks off. I mean, there are geniuses, and then there are John Dee. So that guy was something else. Anyway, back to the chat. Who else we got with us? We've got my fellow guitarista in America, Gabrielle. Great to see you, Gab. Yes, definitely. Should be good fun. Daniela Holland is with us. And Melissa Campbell is here as well. Good to see you, Melissa. Hope you're well. Agatha Velvet is here. Lovely to see you all today. What you say? Good to see you. What you say? Susie Logan is here as well. Lovely to see you, Susie. And we've got, hold on, New York City, Freddie Bling. Good to see you, Freddie. I believe, if I'm right, you first came across me on YouTube via Ralph Ellis. Many people have done that. So it's nice to see that we've got a few Ralph fans now joining in with the History CV of Britain. Robert Paul Corliss is here. And I've just received, I think, an important message. Blimey. Okay, right. This is going to be a test. Do bear with me. It's live TV, everyone. Okay. I'm not sure I'm going to relay that to you, but this could be a test for me and a test for Ralph this evening. Let's see what happens. So, yes, indeed. Oh, Melissa. I watched the Polanski Macbeth last year and found it very bleak. Okay. It is very bleak. But it's quite a bleak story, really, as I understand it. I actually thought it was very beautifully shot, albeit in a bleak kind of way. But I thought the acting was fantastic. And as I say, I'm a big fan of the Third Ear Band who provided the music for the film. So for me, it was just a win-win. Yeah, very sad, very sad. I think he died about a year ago. He was the grandson of Evelyn Waugh, and his channel on YouTube is still up, and it's fantastic. And as I say, the incalculable genius of John Dee, that really does take some beating. Hello, Andrew. Thank you for joining me. I suspect Shakespeare, whoever it was, wrote the tales from an astral perspective. Interesting. I know that some of the plays were taken from Hollinshead Chronicles, Macbeth being a good example of that. And I believe in the original Macbeth in Hollinshead, the three witches were actually fairies, if I remember rightly. And Shakespeare kind of made it a bit more spooky, if you like, I suppose. And Melissa's followed up with, "You're right, it was bleak, partly because of the amazing acting and cinematography." Yeah, the cinematography in that film, Roman Polanski was an absolute genius. And I've seen a few Shakespeare films. I saw Henry V when I was at school, but I saw the Kenneth Branagh version. I've never seen the Laurence Olivier version, but I really enjoyed that as well. As a schoolboy, I'd had no kind of introduction to Shakespeare, so I just about managed to, follow the story as I watched it. But I was really impressed back then. Okay. Yeah, Alexander Waugh's channel is absolutely amazing. And Agatha Velvet. So it's all this talk of authors. Agatha Velvet has said, highly recommend Alexander Waugh's Who Knew series for those who are inclined. I'm not sure that I've seen that. I know that I've seen quite a few videos on his YouTube channel, but I haven't been on there probably for over a year now. So I'm struggling to remember what series that is now. Let me just see if anything's happening on the Ralph Ellis front. No, Facebook is so slow. Okay, now it looks as though we have a choice here. For some reason, there's an issue with Ralph and his computer and getting into my studio. However, there is an alternative option, it would seem, and that is that he could use his laptop, but it could take him up to 30 minutes to transfer the images, and he needs the images to present his information. So that's the state of play at the moment. So I guess really what we'll just have to try to, or I'll have to try and improvise for a bit, potentially half an hour. That should be interesting to see if Ralph can break the code and try and break into the studio. So now I did ask a question, didn't I, at the start of the show, which is how do we get the name Arthur from the name Athrois? Apologies if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. I think that's how you say it. Athrois ap Murig ap Tudrig. So this is the Arthur, the King Arthur of Wilson and Blackett's books, and others who came before Wilson and Blackett, as I understand it. They weren't the first ones to identify Arthur ap Murig ap Tudrig as the King Arthur in British history. So what do you think? Is there anyone out there in the chat who knows how that name came about, or how we got Arthur from Athrois? So Athrois is spelled A-T-H, not A-R-T-H, as pointed out to me on here by Charles Evans Gunther. The name is spelled A-T-H-R-W-Y-S. How did we get Arthur from that? There doesn't seem to be a clear understanding of how that came about. I suppose the names are fairly similar, but they're not, you know. So if there's anyone out there who can tell me how we got there, scrolling down. What does Sullivan say about the comet? Well, Richard Johnson might be able to answer that question, Marshall. I'm only about 25 pages in, and I think I'm still in the 4th century, in the very early days of that history. So I haven't got that far yet. I believe that Wilson and Blackett said that the comet strike happened in the mid-6th century, the mid-500s, there or thereabouts, I believe. And is that the same thing as the pestilence that I keep reading about as well? Some people think that it may have been a comet, or it may have been some sort of plague or something like that. And pardon me, Arthur at Murig possibly went to Brittany for a couple of years to escape that before returning. And again, you know, I'm new to all this, fairly new, so please do let me know if I've got any of that wrong, or if your understanding differs from mine. Didn't know that. Melissa says the 3 witches are mentioned in the British Edda. The British Edda, I believe, is that Waddle? I think it's Waddle. And I've got a PDF of that on my computer that I haven't started reading yet, because I'm still ploughing my way through Artorius Rex Discovered. It just goes on and on and on. Okay, so any ideas on the question I've asked about the name Arthur and Athrois? Well, Richard has said different names and probably different people. That's a fair answer. And he's followed up with, see Kenneth Jackson's Language and History in Early Britain. Okay, I'll look into that. I think someone's mentioned that to me before. Now we have a comment here from Andrew Christie. Thank you for your comments. Keep them. Oh, hold on a minute. I'll just read this out, and I think there may have been a development, so bear with me. Andrew Christie says Hilda's mentioned Britain burning coast to coast in 539, I think. Hilda. Okay, thanks for that, Andrew. I'll look into that. Right, let me just check something a minute. We appear to be in business, so sorry to keep you waiting. I'm about to bring on Ralph now on camera, so please put your hands together for Mr. Ralph Ellis. Hello, Ralph.
Hello there. I'm just opening some images, so let me scroll down.
Do you want me to take you off for a moment and then bring you on when you're ready?
Yeah, give me 5 minutes if you can.
No problem whatsoever.
Another...
Okay, I'll check on you in 5 minutes, Ralph. Okay, back to the chat. Okay, brilliant. Okay, let's keep your comments. Oops. That's it. Merlin's Boy. The comet played a large part in the state of the site I was dousing here. Really? Whereabouts was that? Would be interested to know. By the way, that's just reminded me, Merlin's Boy has a new channel on YouTube. And after the show, I'll try and remember to link it underneath this. I've forgotten to do it. I think it's called something like Dial a Rod. It's a dowsing channel, and he is, as I understand it, a beginner. So it's like, you know, he's kind of finding his way into dowsing and doing it on YouTube, if you like. So do please support him. I will try to remember to link his channel, because he's been great on here, and I very much appreciate his support and his good humour. Marshall Abrahams. By the way, did I get it right about Waddle writing the British Edda? If I did, please let me know, because I'll be really impressed with myself for knowing that. Marshall, there's a brilliant Guian Books facsimile, never say that word, Observations of Comets by John Williams, which relies on the Chinese records. Now, that is interesting. Okay, so I wonder if Orthodox historians have ever looked into this potential comet strike that happened, I believe, in the mid-500s, there or thereabouts in Britain. And I seem to remember it came in from the northeast and caused a lot of destruction in Britain, and then hit parts of South America, possibly. It may have been Bolivia, if I remember rightly. So again, if I'm getting 537 Merlin's Boy, that wasn't too bad then, mid-500s. So 537, which, if I remember rightly, is the orthodox dating for the Battle of Camlan. But Wilson and Blackett date it at 570 because of the problems with, I believe, the Roman Church dating everything based on the incarnation of Jesus, whereas the British Church dated everything from the crucifixion. So you have this 33-year divide, if you like, with the dates. And according to Wilson and Blackett, if you go by the British Church's dating, the dating in the Dark Age history suddenly becomes a lot easier, and everything apparently, you know, not my research, Wilson and Blackett, everything kind of slots into place that way. That's not something that I've had time to look into deeply. Hello. It was Waddle. I was right. I'm really pleased with myself now. I've had a good day today. I've had a good day. Right. Thank you for confirming that, Melissa. We were talking about the book as the copy I ordered arrived today in the post. I wonder what book she's on about there. Okay, Bolivia. Yes, I got that right as well. I'm on form today. Please give the video. I think that deserves a like, everyone, doesn't it? I've got the comet right, more or less. I've got Waddle right. I'm learning. I'm getting there. You know, it's right. Let's just check on Ralph now. Hi, Ralph. How are we doing? You on camera, Ralph? Right. Hold on. I'll take him off again for a minute because I don't think he heard me there. Brilliant. How about a song then? You'll have to wait till Christmas for the song, I'm afraid. There are so anyway, while I'm killing time, I might as well tell you I've written a Christmas song. When I say I've written a Christmas song, Dr. John Hart has written a Christmas poem which I've made into a song, and we're currently working out how to do this, or how to perform this Christmas song on the last show before Christmas, which is the 21st of December, when I'll be joined by 3 guests, Marshall Abrahams, Hugh Evans, and John Hart himself. So you'll have to wait and see. I think it's quite a good song. I'm quite pleased with it. Very Christmassy, obviously. Okay, let me just hide that message, and let me just check Ralph again. Hello, Ralph. Can you hear me? You're on camera. He's typing away there, so I'm going to take him off one more time and check my phone, because I saw him typing there, so he might be telling me no, nothing there so far. Do bear with everyone. Typing. You are. Can't see anything now. 47 people live. Okay. Right. Okay, we'll give it another minute. Let's just go and see what else you've been talking about. Okay. New York City, Freddie Bling. I presume that means New York City. Europe's population reduced by nearly 70% near Sidka, 590 AD. Wow, that's interesting. Can you fill me in on that, Freddie, please? I'd like to, if you could elaborate on that, I'd like to know more. That sounds very interesting. Orwell's Bud, the Told You So guy. Good name. Highly recommended The Celtic Gods. Oh, we don't say Celtic round here. The Celtic Gods by Patrick McCaffrey and Mike Bailey, I think that name is, for some academic comet research on the 5th and 6th century comets. Now, that does sound interesting. Excuse me, everyone. I'm just going to write that down because that sounds like a very interesting book. And I think it's very important to, you know, when you're looking into anything really, and you think, well, there might be an alternative explanation for this, you must consult with the orthodox thinking and research into, you know, whatever topic you're researching. I think it's important that you do that so you know what the official story is before, you know, going into researching it alternatively. That's interesting. Okay. Okay. Now he looks like he's right. Ralph, can you hear me? You're on camera.
I can indeed.
Good.
It's not the proper camera, of course. This is just the one on the laptop. So I'll just have to set it and hope it. How does it look?
It looks absolutely fine. You
Okay.
know, I can't really tell any difference from previous discussions. So,
Oh, this is just the laptop camera. So
right.
and laptop microphone. So what's the sound like?
Absolutely fine again. Absolutely
Good.
fine. You know, I've worked with a proper mic before, but I mean, to be honest, my laptop mic is so good that I could barely hear any difference in quality. So I've just
Right.
stuck with the laptop. Anyway, thank you so much for plugging away and trying to bust into my studio. Not sure what all the problems were. We can talk about that afterwards. Are you ready to present us with your information yet?
Yes. Just let me open my notes because I've had to transfer everything across to the laptop, and the last bit I need to open is going to be my notes. So where are they?
Well, as always, Ralph, I'm sure your information is going to be worth the wait.
Well, I hope so after all of this.
Yeah.
I had trouble with David Whitehead a couple of days ago.
Oh, okay.
So it might be my computer because it's getting a little bit on the old side.
A bit like myself.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Was that on the Unslaved podcast?
Yeah, he does a very good
He does
podcast.
indeed.
I've been on there several times.
Yes.
And we were chatting about Islam on there.
Okay.
So that was it's going to come up soon, actually. He's just released it, I think, today. So
Oh, brilliant. Okay, I'll look out for that. And if if anyone who's watching hasn't come across the Unslaved podcast before, it's hosted by David Whitehead and Michael Tazarian.
Yes, Michael's there almost every week. He wasn't there this week.
Oh, okay.
But he was obviously otherwise engaged. But yeah, he's normally on that.
It's highly, highly recommended. Okay, Ralph. Well, if you're ready,
we're all set, I think.
Okay, I'll hand over to you.
I might be a little bit slow because I have to do everything on the small touch screen here, so it's not quite as easy as playing around with a proper computer. Anyway,
Okay.
I shall knock myself off the proper computer just in case we get any echoes or something like that coming through.
Yeah.
Right. So Okay, so this is going to be a chat about Shakespeare, who I shall be calling the Stratford man. So there's a difference between the Stratford man and the Oxford man.
Yes, he wrote 39 plays, 154 sonnets, 3 long narrative poems, and a number of other verses in a career that spanned 25 years. Or did he? Or did he?
Or did he?
Yes, indeed.
And I find this interesting because it taps into everything else I've been doing over the years. Because if you can lose someone like Shakespeare after just 400 years or so, think of how you can easily lose gospel or Old Testament characters from thousands of years ago. Information does get corrupted, sometimes accidentally, sometimes deliberately. And I think this is one of these occasions where it could well be deliberate. And
so we're talking about hidden history, aren't we, really?
Yeah, it is hidden history, deliberately hidden history. It does happen. And it also taps into what other people have been saying. Some of my critics, like Baby Barman and the Gormless Gnostic, that you can't just look at other characters and declare, oh, this character is that character. It's just not possible. That's not how history works. Well, this is a good demonstration about my and other people's techniques on how you can do that. So we're not just comparing one name or one event or one characteristic of these people. We are comparing multiple. And I'm only really here hitting the tip of the iceberg. There are so many events and things to compare between these two characters. Same when I do my New Testament work with the Edessa theory. It's not just a simple comparison. There are literally, dare I say, hundreds, at the very least, dozens and dozens of connections between these different people before I can say this Edessa character is the biblical Jesus. So let's run into, first of all, why the Stratford man, I won't call him Shakespeare, why the Stratford man might not be the real Shakespeare. So, just getting my notes up here. So why not the Stratford man? Well, the Stratford man has the wrong name, which doesn't help for a starters. So if I go into a quick share screen, allow to share window, allow to share the screen. Window, I think. Nope, not that. This is the trouble with I've not used this before.
Oh no.
I'm sharing the wrong thing, aren't I?
You are, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, so how do I get out of that, I wonder? Let's go down here and share screen here. Share screen. Is that not doing anything? Is it not?
I'm afraid not. Not so far.
It says to stop sharing a screen, press 8.
That's worked.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks for your patience, everyone. Live TV and all that. We'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely. Share screen again. Unable to share screen is not allowed.
How odd.
This is the trouble with not having used this device to share screens before.
Okay, well, while Ralph is trying to sort that out, if anyone has any questions for Ralph or myself, please put them in capital letters in the chat box so I can pick them out from other comments. That would be very helpful.
Okay, it says to check the security parameters. Privacy menu, privacy and security system settings.
Okay, shall I take you off camera for a moment, Ralph, while you play about with that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, no problem. It's me again. Okay, well, keep your fingers crossed, everyone. Hopefully Ralph will be able to sort that out. He is winging it this evening, obviously, with his equipment that he's not doesn't usually use when doing interviews. So let's go back to your comments. Freddie Bling has a Christmas song. Again. Yes, please. Yes, please. And yeah, I'd love to hear it. Okay. And Freddie has said Shakespeare equal Francis Bacon ? One and the same. That was my first theory on the Shakespeare authorship question. But that was purely based on a Channel 4 documentary I watched probably 15 years ago or so now, where the idea was that Bacon was basically in charge of a round table group that had got together to write the body of the Shakespeare work to advance the English language. If I remember rightly, I'm going back a long time, it was something to do with the French poets who were gaining a lot of credence or whatever around Europe, and we were kind of lagging behind. And the idea, as I understood it back then, was that if you lived in somewhere in England or Britain, you could walk, I don't know, say 2-3 hours up the road, and you wouldn't necessarily be able to understand what the people there were talking about. So the idea was, I think, with Francis Bacon was that he was trying to bring or you know, kind of unite the people of England with one language. That's from a long time ago from memory. We've had a comment from WS. Now, this is somebody that I haven't seen on here before. So welcome, WS. Regarding the Comet, the Gaelic for Luscantire on the Isle of Harris, Western Isles is Loig an Tia, which means the land burned. Well, that's very, very interesting again. So we have all these little clues or hints that, you know, something pretty big happened in 537 AD in Britain. And I'll be looking at that book, the Celtic Gods by Patrick somebody. And that's apparently an academic who's written about a possible comet strike hitting Britain in the 6th century. Right, let me just go and check on. He's gone. Hold on a minute. Blimey, what's the time now? Nearly 40 minutes in. Okay. Right, so has exited my studio, presumably to try and see if he can work out how to share images on his alternative device for this evening. So keep your fingers crossed, everyone. I need to keep a check on my messages. Okay. Right. Let me just close that for a minute. Not that, I didn't mean that. I meant, right, that's it. Okay, right, hide message. Riveting stuff, isn't it, so far? Okay, you've got to giggle. Right, do bear with. I'm just scrolling down the comments to see what I can see. Ooh. Interesting. This is just what I was talking about. Writing group, the Knights of the Helmet. That was the name of the round table group mentioned in this documentary that I saw on Channel 4 that I've not been able to find anywhere since, which is really frustrating. Headed by Bacon, funded by De Vere. Well. Rosicrucian connection. I think there might be something to that, definitely. I'll try and remember to mention that to Ralph. Should we manage to do a proper show this evening, I will try to remember the Knights of the Helmet. That was the name of the group, I remember. The Knights of the Helmet. Okay. Right. Now there's Richard being cheeky again in the chat box. Merlin Spoil, what about a Welsh field trip? I'd be up for one of those every month. Having visited Gwynedd last year in mid-September, which was, and I'm not exaggerating, one of the best experiences I've ever had. Sorry about the fireworks in the background. The landscape was just, I know everyone goes on about the landscape in Wales, but until you go there and actually witness it for yourself, you know, you can't appreciate it. It was absolutely stunning. I fell in love with the place. And we went out on several adventures. Probably my favourite one was Bryn Cadafana. Apologies again if I've mispronounced that. I'm getting closer, I think, with these pronunciations. What a stone circle that is! It's a tiny stone circle. It's on my channel somewhere. The actual trip that we took, and it was just incredible. Everything about it, the ambience of that place was something else. We walked along a Neolithic path for what seemed like about 5 miles. Turns out it was about 1.5 miles. And it was just a great experience. I'll never forget it. And I met Hugh there for the first time. I met Lord Tadley there for the first time. Lawrence Main for the first time. Millie Jackdaw for the first time. And I was there for 5 days, I think. And it was just so good. Every day was brilliant. The hotel was nice that we stayed in. The food was lovely. The ale was very good, importantly. And yeah, it was a great time. So getting back to your question, I hope so. There is something going on behind the scenes with that. I can't say any more than that for the time being. But as soon as anything is nailed down, I will announce it on the channel. And I hope that some of you will come. It will probably be next summer in Gwynedd. Now, having said that, I really want to go to South Wales as well to visit the sites that are centred around Athrois ap Murig, and as well as the early Christian church, places like Llandwit Major and what's the other one? Is it Llandaff Cathedral, I think? Places like that. I can't wait to go and see them for myself. Absolutely gagging to get there. So possibly we could maybe do something late winter, early spring for South Wales, and then hopefully next summer we'll be going back to Gwynedd. So yeah, as soon as I know anything on that front, I will announce it on the channel. Right, okay. Still nothing from Ralph at the minute. And we're coming up to 45 minutes now. Excuse me again. Oh, right, okay. Right. So Ralph is still having problems. So I'm going to do another 5 minutes on my own. And unless that situation changes, I'm afraid we will have to cancel for this evening. These things occasionally do happen when it's live, you know. And I've interviewed Ralph over 30 times now, and this hasn't happened before. So it's, you know, so it's unfortunate. I've got 3 hats, Richard. The one that I'm wearing now, I've got my Wurzel Gummidge summer hat, which is on its last legs. And I've got my gigantic beanie that doubles up as a sleeping bed when I go camping. Well, there's a good conversation starter from Natural Explorer. What do you think was the main purpose of Shakespearean storytelling? It conveys variety of mythical messages for the mainstream population by a mystery author. But for what overall purpose? Well, I kind of gave my answer to that question a few moments ago. I think it was possibly, I'm not saying this is the case, but it was possibly to try to advance the language at the time in Britain, or in England rather. But that's just my take on it. I you know, I could be wrong there. I don't know. Does anyone else have any ideas on that? Oh no, that's interesting from Richard. Okay, if you like Gwyneth, you must see Merthyr Tydfil, best place in Wales. That's where Adrian Gilbert's mum is from. And I know they've got a football team, but other than that, thank you for that, Richard. Perhaps if you get a chance next time you're in that area, you might do a little a video of the place. Talking of which, Richard did a video this week, a lovely little 5-minute video on, I believe it was the coast of North Wales. Trying to remember the place. Can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a lovely video anyway. And while I think of it as well, on the subject of Arthur, there's another option possibly for the historical Arthur, and that was Lucius Artorius Castus. Well done, Paul. There you go. Who I believe was a Roman soldier in the 2nd or 3rd century, possibly. Sorry, people are making funny comments and it's making me laugh in the chat box. And this is true as well. This is something that, I mean, the hidden history thingy has been in my mind now for quite a while. And I've been a fan of the Britain's Hidden History channel for some time. And I've had conversations with people who don't believe that there is such a thing as hidden history and ask for examples. And if you give them examples, they tend to, you know, not accept them. Excuse me. But at the same time, we know that we had these groups called the Rosicrucians and other secret groups. Even the Illuminati. If you look up the Illuminati, you'll find them on Wikipedia, but apparently they dissolved, I think, in the 1770s, if I remember rightly. But they did exist at least at one point in our history. Some will say they still do. Personally, I don't place much emphasis on the names of these groups. I mean, you know, is there a secret elite controlling the world? I couldn't possibly say for definite, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit, and it would certainly explain a lot of things. No, I think that's probably it. The 2004 Arthur film, loosely based on Lucius Artorius Castus' theory. Was that the one with Ray Winston in? I saw an Arthur film once with Ray Winston in a supporting part, and it was all right, but I wasn't that impressed. Clive Owen, I think that was the one I'm thinking of that had Ray Winston in, another big West Ham fan. I sat next to him once at West Ham, and I'm going to go in a minute. I've played football against David Beckham on several occasions as a boy, and Frank Lampard Jr., and one or two other professional footballers as well. So, and I played as a left back. David Beckham was a right winger, so it was my job to mark him. And I won't tell you anything else about that because it's not good. Okay. Right, so there's over 50 people watching. I'm so sorry that this has happened this evening. I suppose, maybe one in 100 episodes, something like this might happen where for whatever reason, the gremlins get into the works and we can't get somebody to get into the studio or appear on the screen or have all their stuff working, whatever. So I do apologise that, but I would like to thank you all very, very much for trying to keep this going and for all your comments. And it's really lovely. I receive lots of emails and messages from people, and I'm trying my absolute best to keep up with it all. Every single person that contacts me is really nice and helpful and friendly, and I've enjoyed this. Episode 42 now? I've enjoyed this so much since we first started, and I enjoy it more and more the more I do it. So I want to thank you all for this evening, and I'm sorry that we've for not being able to bring you a proper show. I will try. If I remember rightly, I'm fully booked now with guests up until the new year. So I will try to get Ralph back on in the new year to do his presentation on Shakespeare. If you haven't seen Alexander Waugh's stuff on the subject, that will give you a taster. The Incalculable Genius of John Dee is an absolutely first-class detective video, if you like. And John Dee was a genius, and I don't think Alexander Waugh was that far behind him, to be quite honest with you. And I think Ralph met him on several occasions. So I might ask him about that as well when we get him on. Oh dear, I do feel bad. I'm sorry about that, but it's completely out of my control. Merlin's boy chatted with Ray Winston at his club in Enfield Town. I was over West Ham once watching them play football, and for some reason, I can't even remember now. This is going back probably over 20 years ago. So I was only a child at the time, obviously. And I was lucky enough to have tickets for an executive box. And that's when West Ham played at Upton Park, not at their new ground, the Olympic Stadium. And it wasn't going very well that particular day for West Ham. And at one point, I lost my patience with the team, shall we say, and shouted out some rather critical expletives to one or two of the players. And I finished, and then somebody said to the corner of my ear, said, I totally get where you're coming from, mate. You couldn't be more right. And I turned around, and it was Ray Winston, and I shouted my head off in front of Ray. But then he tends to do that quite a lot on camera, so he probably enjoyed it, to be quite honest with you. Bring him back, Mike Philbin. I'm sorry. The last I heard was that Ralph came out of the studio and then was having more problems trying to get back in, and I think he's given up now. So I do apologise for that. I was really looking forward to it. I've interviewed Ralph not solely on Shakespeare in a video, but that came up in part of one of our videos on my old channel, Nutrient Nirvana, which is also the name of my business. So I was really geared up and looking forward to this because Waugh's research and Ralph's research on this is pretty conclusive. I don't see how anyone can argue against it now. Anyway, thank you for watching me tonight and 5 seconds of Ralph. Thank you for all your comments. You've been very, very helpful. I will try and get Ralph back on in the new year. Next week, I've got on, or I welcome back, Lord Tadley, Dr. John Hart, and we'll be discussing psychic history. And that's all I know at this stage. And John, of course, is a eminent scientist, a man of science. So I'm as puzzled as you are probably at this point as to what John will be talking about next week. But don't miss that. I've got the week after that, I've got Marshall coming back. And then I've got 2 new guests, including the author of this so far brilliant book, The Coming of the Saxons. His name is Tony Sullivan. The week after that, I've got Adam Tetlow, who has written many books, one of which is this one, The Diagram, Harmonic Geometry. And Adam is running a course at the moment on metrology, and he's trying his best to follow up on the work of John Neal. So look out for that. Don't forget my video this week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, the premiere of my discussion with Dane Quirk of the Saturn Rooster YouTube channel, and Hugh Evans. Hugh's got a channel on here as well, by the way, Origin of the Zodiac. Do please check it out and subscribe to him if you haven't already. I hope we get a video out of Marshall soon. I really do. It's been a while, and I love her videos. They're nearly as good as her books. Paul, you would make an excellent cricket commentator. I think you're probably right there, mate. You're probably right. Okay, that's enough from me. That's an hour anyway. That's not bad going, is it? I'm getting better at this. And I do enjoy it. I do get a little bit nervous at times, you know, when you're talking to 50, 60 people live. But I do enjoy it. I'm getting better, and I'll continue to improve, and I'll continue to try to get new guests onto the show, as well as my favourite ones. So, yeah, that was that, really. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments. I love you all. Have a very good week, and I'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. at the usual time